Do you have any further concerns? If there's anything nefarious going on here?
I don't think anybody's safe. I mean, I'm just not living under this boomer illusion that John F. Kennedy was killed by a lone gunman. There's no way that shooter should have made it up on that roof. That's my honest opinion.
What a crazy week. The Trump attempted assassination last week. You must be all over the place trying to cover it, trying to understand what's going on. Give me your reaction to that initially and what your thoughts are and what your thought process is around this whole incident.
Well, my initial thoughts were, this can't be real. Obviously, I received, as many people, I received text messages. I wasn't watching it live. I was traveling. I was on the road. I was in California playing in the Big Three. We were in Anaheim this past weekend, and just a madhouse running around, kind of in the fray. And so I received a text message first. I wasn't watching live. So your first response is, okay, somebody's getting it wrong. Obviously, this didn't actually happen. Maybe it's some phony footage, something doctored up. Somebody got their wires crossed, and we're not dealing with reality. And then as I tuned in, looked on X, every trusted account that I know, people that I know from within the movement, the conservative movement, conservative media, the MAGA movement, they had already posted the footage. And, my next thought was, here we go. This might be it. Dangerous were my next thoughts. Stay dangerous. This is dangerous. Right?
Yeah.
Obviously, shortly after that, the clip of him standing up, of him rising up and giving the fight call to the people is just going to go down as one of the most pivotal moments in American history. There's no other way to describe it. At that point, I was filled with emotion. And I think rightfully so, as many other Americans and many other people all around the world were. You have to have been in near-death experiences to understand just how courageous it is to have been shot and be in let's call it the chaos of adrenaline and uncertainty and fear, and have the wherewithal to stand up and maybe your death declaration being for the people to fight indiscriminately. He wasn't specific. He didn't say who. He didn't say what. He just told the people to fight. And if you understand it at that level, it's why it's had the reaction it's had, and it's why he's going to win the election now.
Yeah, man. Like when I think about it, when he was on the floor there, you don't know with the adrenaline. It's like when you hurt yourself. Like when I've fallen off my motorbike in the past, you get up and it's the reaction is like, how hurt am I? How bad is this? Is this going to be? And he wouldn't have known that. He wouldn't have known if he was seriously hurt, and he would have been absolutely in the eye of the storm. So have you had any near-death experiences like that? Random question.
Yeah, I've had a few myself. But I'll say this, dealing with anxiety disorder, panic attacks growing up as a teenager and even into my adult years, I say I've dealt with many near-death experiences. A lot of people wouldn't understand it unless they had panic attacks, especially severe panic attacks, but each one is like you're dying. In fact, panic attacks so closely simulate heart attacks that you have to usually do an EKG and blood work to discern between the two when you go to your local emergency department, because they have the same physical markers and phenomena. So I've been through many near-death experiences. And again, if Donald Trump hadn't won you over before for whatever reason, and there's a lot of things we could criticize him for policy-wise or some of the choices he's made morally, ethically, all of us would fall under that same category, probably, unless you're a saint, which I don't know many. But if he hadn't won you over before, there's nothing like somebody trying to take a shot at you when you're vulnerable and you have no chance to fight back, and you survive in that. Number one, there's a real touch of divinity there, real divine intervention, especially when you look back at the video of just how slightly his head was turned to have been missed by that bullet. If you're not rooting for the guy now, I know you're an ideologue. I know you're an ideologue. I know you're anti-American. I know you're a Satanist. I know you don't value freedom. I know you don't value valor and courage. And so now the line, God works in mysterious and great ways, and the line has never been drawn more clear in the sand for me personally, and I think a lot of other people all around the world.
Guys, big announcement. Reality-based merch is here. What have we got? We have got Life's Tough get a helmet. You guys will remember the iconic Candace Owens moment.
What do you have to say to the trans students on this campus who feel actively victimized by your presence here?
Life's tough. Get a helmet, man. I'm too pregnant for this. Next question.
So if you guys would like to get your hands on the most based merch in the entire game, bar none, then head to realitybasedstore.com. All of those links are going to be linked in the description. Get back to the video. And then obviously it's still, the fog is still amongst us with everything that's happening. But do you have any further concerns, any further trepidations about if there's anything nefarious going on here?
Oh, there's certainly something nefarious going on. In what way that plays into this specific incident, I can't be sure. When I call and talk to ex-military guys who were special forces, who did sniper, scout and recon and things like that, and they all say unanimously that there's no way that building, that rooftop should have been naked. That gives me great concern about the Secret Service, number one. In fact, after we get done here, I'm going to email you a soundbite of me being in St. Cloud, Minnesota on Wednesday evening before I traveled out to California. And a woman in the crowd at my town hall here, because I'm running for United States Senate, a woman in the crowd in my town hall asked me, did I think that Secret Service could keep them safe? And I told her very frankly, I don't think anybody's safe. I mean, I'm just not living under this boomer illusion that John F. Kennedy was killed by a lone gunman and that we've remedied or reconciled that assassination. So I don't live in that delusion. So from an honest standpoint, I told them in the crowd, I don't think he's safe. And I don't know if the deep state goes all the way down into Secret Service. If I'm the deep state, I would certainly be infiltrated in the Secret Service. There's no way that shooter should have made it up on that roof. That's my honest opinion. Many military experts who have tons of combat experience are saying the same thing. So there's something going on. And in terms of American citizenship and our freedom and in our political future, there's always nefarious things going on. Always.
How does that make you feel as somebody who's running for senator and somebody who is like very, very much an anti-establishment figure?
Yeah, well, it made me, again, to go back to that day and seeing that footage, my initial reaction was, I'd be lying if I didn't admit my initial reaction was anger. And anger because of the understanding that I could have easily been standing up there behind Donald Trump. Had I been invited to that particular, rally for some reason and had VIP tickets or whatever the case may be, I could have easily been standing back there behind Donald Trump while he was speaking. And so them taking a shot at him is kind of like them taking a shot at me. And that not only should all American citizens who support Donald Trump feel a sense of anger and frustration because of the man who was shot and killed, but I think all of us political leaders now have to reassess, this shame that's put on us for being conspiracy theorists, right? It's funny, that morning, I think it was either that morning or the night before, I had just posted, I guess you have to say now. I had just posted that they were trying to kill Steve Bannon for putting him in prison. And that was what they were trying to do. They're dog whistling to kill American patriots and conservatives across mainstream media right now. If you don't understand that, then you're probably living in La La Land. But that is what they're doing. When they say you're fascist, you're Hitler, you're a dictator, you're a threat to democracy and freedom and women's fundamental existence, right? What they're trying to do is get beta male cucks to ratchet up their manic energy to try and defend women. And that's really what the whole gamut is about. And it's super perverse and odd to say the very least. But I said that they're trying to kill Steve Bannon, and there were local Republicans in Minnesota who said, we're 30 days away from a Senate primary, and our endorsed candidate is spreading conspiracy theories about somebody trying to kill Bannon. And then somebody takes a shot at Donald Trump. And, I don't mean to say I told you so, but we are living in those type of times politically and culturally and societally. So, it is what it is. Yeah, I feel the threat for sure.
Yeah. And how is Steve Bannon going? Because I know that he's endorsed you and you guys have a relationship. Yeah. Have you been speaking to him recently?
Well, I speak to him through his contacts. He has a couple of contacts. I'm waiting to get on his email list at the prison. From what I know, he's doing well. He's being well looked after inside the prison from all that we can do. And I love him. He's family. You know, he's my mentor, he's a friend, he's a comrade, and he is one of the most brilliant men in modern American history and world history. And there's a reason why they say he's one of the most dangerous intellectual minds in politics all around the world. He's considered one of the thought leaders of the populist movement, the rise of the populist movement from here all the way to Europe and beyond. So, you know, it's a great honor and to have met him, to know him, to be very close with him, to have his mentorship and his guidance. And he's just a wealth of knowledge. And what strikes me the most about Steve Bannon is that the American media, the American mainstream media, and the mainstream media all around the world has done such a good job at controlling the narrative. A lot of people who hear Steve Bannon's name will have never actually heard him speak. Similarly to Donald Trump in many ways, although you probably had a better chance of hearing him speak at least because he was, you know, had a world syndicated reality TV show. But Steve is a different case entirely. There are people who have never actually heard Steve Bannon speak who only know of him through the headlines of the mainstream media. And unanimously or overwhelmingly, when people actually hear him speak about economic nationalism, they're swayed. They're converted. And so that's a daunting reality for how powerful mainstream media is, but a sign of optimism for this movement that the truth is on our side. And when people actually hear the truth, they're they have a change of heart and mind.
If you enjoyed that reality-based podcast clip, make sure to subscribe to the reality-based YouTube channel. We'll be uploading many clips and the full podcast. And also, if you prefer the audible version, you can check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts at Reality Based.